Namaste, beloved ones. It's morning time in India here, and I'm at this special place in Lonavala, if I can pronounce it correctly, I hope. Kaivalidiama. I think they pronounce it a little different here, but it's close enough. And I'm in the garden this morning, and I wanted to share with you the sounds of the water nearby, the little fountain. And also this morning when I woke up, the morning doves were cooing. You might hear that in the background. And my joy this morning is to start the day. I meditated for a little bit, and now I start the day with a reading. And I was going to read to myself, but then I decided that, I found this really interesting book in the library here. Very many rare and precious books that I may not be able to find back home in Canada. So I'm going to start reading this book to you. You might find it fascinating as I do, because I only browsed through it last night. And it starts with a dedication to the only substance that shines deep in our heart. I love those words. And then it has a couple pages of the backstory, and then simply the book goes on to share a poem of the meaning of life, on the meaning of life. So it's right about the subject and the substance of what we thrive and what we would love to co-create, the inner being, the embracing of the essence. So because of that, I'm going to go ahead and start reading it. This might be first part, and then I will continue with the second part and maybe third part, and I'll put them all together for us. Diving in, this is an unusual tale, and yet it is an everyday story, the story of life, not life as we perceive it, but life as it actually is. Changdev was a great accomplished yogi. He had obtained whatever knowledge there was to be gained through education for those times. He excelled in yoga, and he had many occult powers to his credit. The story goes that he had conquered death. He was said to be 1,400 years old when our story began in 13th century AD. Changdev had accomplished much, learned much, but he was still in the need of a guru who would teach him the knowledge of self. In Hindu scriptures, self-realization is regarded as the highest accomplishment that any human being can achieve. Changdev was an adept in yoga, scriptural knowledge, and occult powers, but he knew that he had not attained self-realization, which was the goal of human life. He had heard of another divinity by the name of Nyandev, who was renowned as a yogi and a holy man. Nyandev had developed a reputation by making a buffalo recite aloud the holy scriptures. Nyandev was only in his teens at that time, but his reputation was the talk of the country. Admitting to his divinity and authority, the learned Brahmins had surrendered to his feet. Changdev had an intense desire to meet this distinguished yogi named Nyandev. So he decided to write Nyandev a letter. This was not a simple task, because he was confronted with a big problem. He did not know how to address the letter. He thought that if he began the letter by saying, "Revered Nyandev, salutations," etc., this would not be proper, since Nyandev was so much younger than himself. Nyandev was a mere boy. However, if he started by writing something like, "Blessings, my son Nyandev," that also would not be proper, since Nyandev was such a gifted authority of the Holy Scriptures. He could not find any way to solve his problems. Not being able to begin his letter, he just sent Nyandev a blank letter through his disciples. Nyandev was in the company of his elders, or elder brother, Nivriti, younger brother Sopan, and younger sister Mukta. Nyandev was startled to open the letter, as it was totally blank. He looked at Nivriti with an askance gaze. Nivriti suggested to Nyandev that there was a deep meaning in the blankness of the note. The total blankness was suggestive of total honesty for the writer who wrote the letter. Changdev wanted to know something from Nyandev. By presenting a blank letter to Nyandev, Chandev not only revealed his honesty, he revealed his self-surrenderance to Nyandev without any strings attached or without any preconceived notions about the knowledge that Nyandev would impart upon him. Only when a person becomes guileless, as Chandev did, does he become fit to receive knowledge. Light reflects from a crystal because it is so pure, but light does not reflect from a chunk of clay. All of the four siblings were very pleased and heartened by the blank letter from Chandev. Nyandev then decided to reply to Chandev's letter with these 65 verses. These illustrious verses unveiled a mask of ignorance from Chandev's heart and truly illuminated him. This letter taught Chandev more about life and more about the universe. And that is the 65 pearls, the content in this book. We may begin now. Are you excited? Greetings and welcome to Vatesh. It reveals itself to itself in the form of the universe, and then it swallows it up to rest in its own being. Vatesh is another name of Chandev. Vatesh also means the Lord of the banyan tree, the tree being symbolic of the universe. The Lord is the seed of the root cause of the universe. The seed or root cause remains invisible, whereas the tree or the universe is its visible manifestation. The basic truth behind seed and the tree is what we actually are. By calling him Vatesh, Nyandev is arousing in Chandev's mind his identity with this basic truth. What is true for Vatesh or Chandev is also true for us. We are our deepest truth, our deepest being. What can be said about it? Can we describe it? Can we describe our own deepest experience? Can we withdraw ourselves completely into it? Only then can we shine in its glory. This basic reality or truth sees for itself the complexities of the universe. As it withdraws its sights from the universe, as if it's swallowing it, it realizes itself of its simple basic reality. Then it rests back in its own restful state. When it realizes the universe is not seen, when it conceals itself, the universe appears. In reality, however, neither does it conceal nor realize. It stays unperturbed. When the basic truth of our life lays in this restful state, all is absorbed in itself, in its own being. It then does not visualize the universe. Again, when it shies away from the state, tickling diversities of the universe appear. However, we are talking about our own inner core reality. What business does it have to conceal itself and realize itself? It really is our restful inner self, all quiet, all unperturbed. As it becomes infinite, it does not become anything. And not becoming anything, it is still everything. I'm going to stop here for a moment so that I'm going to read one more time this last verse. As it becomes infinite, it does not become anything. And not becoming anything, it is still everything. I'm going to leave you with those 4 verses and the knowledge before them to soak into it for a little bit. And I'll be back. in a little while. Rest in your being.